Welcome to the Booktrovert Babes podcast, where two friends decided to bring our dramatic conversations about books here for your entertainment. I'm Rubik's mom of 5 and a baby reader just entering my book era.
And I'm Taylor, a mom of 2 and a well-seasoned book era veteran. We have a topic today that I personally think we are experts on. But before we get into that, I just wanted to do a quick little update because we've been pretty freaking busy this month and I feel like we've barely spoken to each other.
Oh yeah,
which is,
no kidding.
As I have mentioned on the podcast before, we are very codependent friends and that's just abnormal for us. So Rubik's, how's your January been?
Busy. And in like a weird way, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, right? Like it's been busy because I am constantly doing something. Well, I mean, I've been crafting a lot.
Yes.
I have like a few things that I'm trying to set up to make my craft station more organized. And so that I can kind of get better into my bookbinding thing. And then I've been also doing more bookbinding. And I think at this point I have rebound or bound because I've started doing journals with my kids. So I think at this point I've bound 8 books.
Nice. Remember when you said last episode that 30 was so outlandish?
Listen, I still don't think I will hit 30 for me.
Okay.
Like if they're my books, I still don't think that I'm going to get to 30. But I'm binding a lot. A lot of them have been gifts though.
Yes.
Like so far out of those 8, one of them is mine.
That's true.
They're all
by the time you're done with all these gifts, you're going to be so good at it. So then you're going to get all these perfect editions for yourself because you're an expert now.
Honestly,
see,
you're not wrong.
I know. You're getting all your practice out on your gifts, and then that way when you start yours, you're like, ah.
I really have been like the ones that I did for the girls. I'm seeing like now that it's been like a month or two, like I'm already seeing things that like just as far as wear and tear of not even reading them, but just like showing them and like having them on the table or on the shelf or whatever. I'm already seeing things that I could have done better that I am already fixing that and already doing better. So like, yeah, my process has already been, refining itself as I've been going through it. So yeah, no, all of my books are going to be freaking gorgeous. And I'm getting more ideas, but I have fun ideas for
so 30
of my books.
We'll see you.
No, not 30. It's not going to be 30.
I mean, if I go based on just projects, then yeah, you're going to hit 30.
I mean, just projects? Yeah, but that's not fair because I've got a million projects that I'm doing. Just books, rebinding books. If I hit 30, it would have to count like all the gifts and stuff.
We'll see.
Because if we're only counting books that I've rebound for myself, my own shelf trophies, I'm at 1.
All right, fine. But while you're doing all this crafty stuff,
I've been listening to a lot of my audiobooks.
I know, because the few times that you have texted me and I go to call you out about something, you're like, oh, I read that. And my immediate response every single time has been, when? You didn't tell me about it. You didn't immediately text me because you finished well, I don't know if you finished all of our book club reads, because did you read Reckless yet?
Oh, no. That's the only one I haven't gotten to yet.
You were about to get screamed at. Kaylee and I have been waiting. We have a separate text thread going where we're like, this is what she's going to say. This is what we're going to say when she inevitably argues with us about this.
You've already planned out the entire conversation.
We already have it all planned out because we have opinions on how you're going to feel about certain things. But I've been waiting for it. But I was waiting for you to finish the last books from the Devil's Night series, and we found out you finished like 5 days later because you didn't tell anybody.
I know.
I'm just a little bitter Betty about it.
I've actually been like, except for my Kindle and using my phone as the audiobook player, my headphones are pretty much the only other electronic that I have been using. Like, I have not been on my computer much. If I am on my computer, it's literally just to run either my Cricut machine or my laser cutter. That's all I've been doing. Like, I have not even been designing. I've been designing a little bit, but I haven't been doing much of anything else.
Her personal life is in the trashy.
It's
just so busy.
I'm not ashamed to say it.
I
have been in a hole.
She's unreachable.
However, I will say being in a hole has done a lot for my reading goal so far. Do you want to know how many books I've read so far this year? 2025.
Yeah, I'm curious because I actually didn't know how many I had hit until we were about to hit record, and we're like, oh, let me reflect on that. And I was told, don't look at mine.
Mm-hmm.
How many books have you read so far?
So I just finished Onyx Storm, right?
Yes.
And I told you when I finished Onyx Storm.
Well, yeah, because had you not been giving me text updates about that, I probably would have blocked you again. Notice how I say again, by the way, because it's happened.
But when I finished it, I'm kind of in a little bit of a book hangover. But when I finished Onyx Storm, that was my 15th book this year.
Wait, that's so fun. I'm on book 16. I have read 15 books. Dang, friend.
We're not even close to the end of the month. And I mean, we're close, but like in 3 weeks, I read 15 books.
Wow, you're pulling out my kind of numbers, bestie. You still have a whole week.
I know. So like, yes, I have been in my hole. I have been MIA.
Yeah,
probably any other
abandonment.
But look what it did for my reading goal.
Okay, remember in our literal last episode, and I said, the one thing that I want to make sure of, even when I'm hitting these incredible numbers, what I'm so proud of, there needs to be a balance.
Bitch, please, you said that and you still put your secret goal at 200.
Okay, but do you know who's been texting her besties still every single day and still texting you every single day to stop ignoring me?
I don't know why you're yelling.
Because you need to balance it. I'm very proud of your 15, but like, stop ignoring me. You can
know,
come back to me in February.
On vacation, okay?
That's fine. You can do the rest of January being a little book baddie, but you better come back to me in February, or I'll just be even more dramatic. I'll be Mel's level of dramatic, and then you'll have 2 of us.
That's fair. Another reason, though, that I have been a little more antisocial with y'all is I have been spending a lot more time with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because my kids had an extra week.
So yours were on an even longer vacation than mine were.
Yeah, my kids get an extra week of winter vacation. It's not technically vacation. It's their independent study project week. So they're home from school, but they have a big project that's worth like half of their grade for the quarter, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember from last year. Yeah. Because one of your daughters, who I love all of your daughters, but one of your daughters is a little bit of a procrastination queen, and I recall all the drama from last year's big project. So
yeah, because I was up all night helping her finish it.
Yes. I can only imagine with all 3 of your daughters having that project that you were a little busy bee.
Yes, we were very busy, but not just with the projects, because like the older 2, I really didn't have to do much with the project. And, Chick Pete is in 4th grade now. So like I'm starting to pull back on how much help I'm actually giving her. I'm just making sure she's crossed off all the boxes of the things that she needs. And then I did not touch her project. Like I had to sit with her to help her focus, but I didn't touch it myself. So, but I was spending a lot more time with them. And even when I'm reading while the kids are in the room with me, hanging out, playing. I'm pausing constantly my audiobook to talk to them about stuff. But I'm just kind of, I'm still reading, but like we're all together in the room. Yeah. And that's not something we've had a lot of recently because everybody was so busy, especially over the holidays. So now it's really nice to like be getting back in a routine. And part of that routine is us having more time to spend together. I'm unplugging a lot more to spend time, with hubby when he's home, and when he's off, or I don't usually know until like the night of like, hey, are you going to work tonight? No, I'm off. And I'm like, oh, and I'm instantly unplugged the rest of the night. Like I don't touch my computer. I pretty much stay off of my phone. If he's doing something else, I'll read while I'm hanging out with him. But otherwise, we're watching movies or talking or doing something. And it has been really nice. It's something that I really needed. So, like, I know I seem like I'm totally disconnected and antisocial from everybody else, but I've actually been more connected and social with my family, which has been really nice. I just feel
like you're giving me a really valid excuse that I can't actually be mad at you that you're neglecting me, but it's fine.
It's true. I mean, I'm gonna get to the point where I can balance it out. But right now, I'm just really enjoying the like more tight-knit moments that
I mean, it makes sense because the holidays, everything is very go, very fast, very fucking stressful. Oh, yeah. And then January is a really nice month to just slow the fuck down.
Yes. And that's what we've been doing. We've been slowing down and just like spending time together. The amount of fireplace videos that we have found that have been on the TV while we're just hanging out in the room together. You know, like even if some of the kids are on their phones, we're reading together. Like my oldest and I have been reading at the same time. She's reading the ACOTAR series while I've been reading my books. My hubby's started reading the ACOTAR series. Haha. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I can't wait to start getting video reactions.
I'm so excited.
Hysterical.
It's coming.
Like, okay, you can't read this part until you get home so that I can get it on video.
Yeah, for me, it was my bet.
I'm like,
I want to see it.
I know. I'm like, I have specific chapters where I need you to be sitting and reading it and listening to that, because he's listening to the audiobook. I'm like, I need you to be listening to it so that I can just get right on your face.
Just zoomed.
I'll know when you get to where I'm thinking. I'll be able to see it on your face.
Yes. So you are correct. You have a beautiful segue into our main topic.
Yes.
Which is motherhood, and essentially motherhood with reading. Because, you know, in our cute little intro, we say you're a mom of 5. You have 4 girls and 1 boy, and I have 2 boys.
Yeah.
We got lots of kids. So
million kids.
Well,
we got an army.
Kids. I got 2. So our topic
I got
on
several
motherhood,
different sports teams.
You more so than me, are experts on reading, being moms, and being busy. And what I feel like what some people don't always understand is, even as moms, like being busy, it means something different, obviously, than like the 9 to 5 busy. There's a lot of extra things that go into it. So when people hear like Rubik's read 69 books, Taylor read 181 books, like, how did you do that? You're a mom.
Yep.
And then reading with our kids. So Rubik's, what are your highlights of reading and being a mom? Can I pick one?
Yeah.
I love that you have a teenage daughter who reads the same stuff as us. And then I love that we have a group text between the 3 of us where she sends updates. And then the 2 of us get to see her reading them. But also the 2. My favorite part of it is your daughter is to you what you are to the rest of us. Yeah. And it's my favorite thing to watch. Such a bitch. It's a bitch in the form of your child who's doing exactly to you what you do to us, and you're like, and it's even better because she lives in your household. You have to deal with your opposing things together in the same house.
So I feel like this needs a little bit of context for everybody listening. Okay, so you may have heard a few times on the podcast where Taylor and I disagree on something.
Just a couple
times. But the way this whole thing started, all of these conversations, the dramatic conversations about books, the way that they started was way back when I started reading. We started with Fourth Wing. This is the book I read that everybody else was reading too. And it all started, I poorly chose to say a thought I had, which was that everyone was too hard on Dane.
And don't leave out the second part of that. And
that Xaden was nothing special and he was a little toxic. That's where it all started, because as soon as I made that comment, which I thought was just going to be like, yeah, I think he's a little toxic, and we were going to move on with our lives.
No.
I was so wrong.
Like 18 months? Maybe a little more?
I was so wrong.
No.
To the point where I said, I don't know why you're yelling, to Mel and you in a text. And now we have this ridiculous recording that is famous on Melanie's Twitch stream.
This is why I always say in our group chat, if someone has a long message, just send it as a voice note. Because 1, I love voice notes, but 2, I love hearing your context behind it and the aggression behind what you're saying.
Well, because when I said this, she was driving. Because y'all had finished the book before me, and y'all were waiting for me to get to a certain point. You knew I was going to be like, screw Dane, I'm with Xaden all the way. And I did not do that. I said, well, it's understandable. And then I said, I don't know why you're yelling. And Mel was driving, could not text back, so sends this voice note that just thousands of people at this point have heard.
Yes, it's great.
Saying,
beautiful.
Rubik's, I'm not quite sure how you don't know why I'm yelling. And it has gone on since then. And every single time there are two different guys in a book.
It's definitely
in favor
grown
of one you guys don't like.
Yes, it's also grown into just more of like other things, but it definitely started with your opposing thoughts on men in books.
But that's the thing that everybody wants to hear. They're like, I always see y'all in the group chats when y'all think I'm not in there paying attention. I still read some of them, and I always see, just wait, Rubik's is going to say this. Rubik's is going to say this about, Rubik's probably likes this guy. He's such an a-hole. Rubik's probably loves him. And I'm like,
yeah,
I hate y'all.
And are we ever wrong? No.
Well,
there's that one series you still haven't read yet, so to be determined, but I'm still pretty sure I know what your order will be.
It's that you skew things. You say I love them when that's not what I said. I said I understand them. I sympathize. I'm a notorious sympathizer. Okay.
Yeah. No, we're not doing this today.
I love them.
Anyway, so that's how our relationship started. And then there's many books on recording where the same thing happens. Multiple of us are on one side. Rubik's controversially is on the other. So then her daughter starts to read the books that we're reading. And this is the best card.
Not only my daughter, my daughter that doesn't like fantasy. She hates fantasy. Like red flag number 1. Okay. She hates fantasy.
I don't think it's a red flag. I just think Pinky is a superior little individual.
In this context, it's a red flag for me. Like, I should have known that we were going to come to this, like, karma's going to bite me in the ass here because she hates fantasy. Like, right out the gate, that's where this was going to start.
This was epic. The first book that is presented to this child is Fourth Wing. She broke up with you.
DNF'd. She
broke up with her DNF with a breakup note to you, though.
It was hysterical. It's not the book. It's me.
Yeah, but in reality, what she's saying is your book sucks and I'm DNFing it.
Yeah.
And then she went to Butcher and Blackbird, which she loved. Great girl. So proud of you. So proud of you. And then our group chat was formed because she started reading ACOTAR, which also I love because, you know, I think she's Gen Alpha. I'm learning all the lingo with that one. Someone needs more screen time. Like, her little opinions on things crack me up.
They're hysterical.
Between ACOTAR and then she also started reading One Dark Window, she opposes you a lot. Not only does she oppose you, though, she specifically takes the things that you love most and says the shit that she knows is going to make you mad. And
she
all
totally
I do is sit there with my metaphorical popcorn going, haha, karma's a bitch. Because it's what you do to us.
She's very much my child. Like, she's very much a mini-me. So she dissects things the same way that I do, but she always has a different perspective, which I mean, this is how I'm raising my kids, right? Form your own opinions.
Yeah. Oh,
damn it. This is where it got me. I'm sharing these books with her because I'm like, you're gonna love this. And she's like, yeah, that sucked. And I'm like, oh, but she has such good reasons that I'm like, I can't even be completely mad because you're.
So I assume you won't be asking her to read The Black Witch. She'll rip it apart. If I didn't love it, she might rip it apart.
She's planning on reading it. Now,
you better get your support blanket ready.
I know. The thing is she hates weak and whiny female main characters.
So literally the entire plot of the first 4 books. Oh, good luck. Good luck.
The thing is I think that the political aspect, I think that the political and the war aspect of the plot, that she will like that. And that's what I told her I thought she would like.
To overshadow the whiny,
I don't know.
All she does is cry. And at one point I texted you worried she was dehydrated.
I know.
I'm a little nervous for you to have your daughter read that.
I know. She's gonna hate it. She's gonna rip Ellerin apart, man. But she will also
Can she please do it in our group text?
She will also rip Vivian apart.
Yes.
And that I'm waiting for. That I'm ready for. She's also going to love Diana.
As she should.
As she should. My question is it going to be Lucas or is it going to be Yvonne?
Did you prefer Lucas towards the end at one point? Whatever you think, just do the opposite. That's probably what your daughter is going to do.
I know. And that's why it's fun. It's really fun for me because, like, moms always have these grandiose ideas of how we're going to raise our kids, right?
Yes.
We always have these, I want to raise my kids to be independent. I want to raise my kids to be free thinkers. I want to raise my kids to be able to articulate their opinions and their feelings, be aware. I want them to be respectful, and I want them to be able to communicate these ideas. Like, we're always having these grandiose things, and then they get put into practice when we share the things we love with them. And it's like, wait,
who gave you this independence? Cut it out.
Do that
but
out
also,
there.
So yeah.
Do that shit out there, not here. Like, I mean, and this, the day that I realized this is the thing that happens is when my now 13-year-old Sugar, when she was, I think she was 7, she says to me, I just don't like Star Wars. And I went, like,
I think it's so funny that majority of your children don't like fantasy.
Well, now my oldest, she loves sci-fi. She likes sci-fi stuff. She loves Star Wars. This is the child that had, and this is what blew me away about her not liking fantasy, okay? I used to have the hardest time decorating for her birthday parties because she would pick themes that I could not go buy the packages at Walmart, you know? And I had to make decorations, and most of it was timing, right? Like, she just, it wasn't popular enough at that time to have the decorations and stuff. But like some of her birthday themes, Wreck-It Ralph, like she wanted the Candyland theme, Star Wars, Doctor Who. We had a Doctor Who birthday party where I cut
she is so your child.
So many freaking TARDISes out of blue poster board. Okay, a Doctor Who party, a Star Wars party, Candyland theme party, Frozen from Disney. So then she tells me she doesn't like fantasy, and I'm like, huh? So when? Like, what?
It's so fun to watch.
I'm like, I don't understand.
And it's more fun to watch because not only is she roasting the books that we love, she's doing it with that Gen Alpha tone of hers. And it's even funnier because sometimes I'm like, what the fuck did this child just say?
No,
like, it takes me a second.
The moment I knew that she needed to be in a group chat with you and I specifically was when she compared Amarantha from ACOTAR to freaking said that she was visualizing Chapel Roan.
God, she's so Gen Alpha. And then her
like
Rhysand needs more screen time.
Rhysand needs more screen time. And that was in book 1.
Yeah.
She finished book 1 and said he needs more screen time, and she did it with like this, like
her little
I don't even know how to like
her little flirtatious like hair behind the ear, but like it's like the eyebrow to
one
the ear.
Little finger behind the ear, like pushing your hair behind the ear. Like, I just feel like Rhysand needs more screen time, and I'm like, what? I did not expect that this early. Okay.
Yeah. You have the fun experience that you have all girls, so you get to share a lot more with them. I don't feel like I'm going to get to have this similar experience because I have boys. Well, like, you have a bonus son, but like, I don't foresee sharing many of my books, if any of my books, with my boys one day.
Oh, well, and I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, when I share these books with them, they are all so incredibly different. Like, incredibly different in their tastes. Oldest loves sci-fi and all the nerdy stuff that I love.
Murder.
Loves anime
and murder.
Loves the dark stuff. She loves dark humor, and she loves like the dark romance kind of like Butcher and Blackbird. Like, that whole vibe is totally up her alley. But hates fantasy. My 13-year-old, she hates fiction in general.
I was gonna say, she just doesn't like fiction. The whole thing, throw it away.
In general, does not like any of them. Now, she did love the Hunger Games movie, so I'm hoping I can get her in with those books still. I mentioned that in the last episode, but like, I don't know. She just doesn't like to read fiction. Okay. Now, Chickpea may be the one I've been waiting for.
She's the chosen one.
because she loves
You never know.
fantasy.
Sunshine's only one. You got time to mold her.
I do. And she already loves bookbinding videos. So
Loves that ASMR, that one.
she loves it. But like Chickpea loves fantasy. She loves magic, fairies, unicorns, mermaids. Like she loves fantasy and fairy tales and things like that. And she also loves princesses and stuff like that. So I don't know. So I'm thinking she may be the one.
The chosen one.
She may be the one that aligns with my my interests, I guess. My fantasy, my tastes for
You'll be able to
books.
share more books with her.
Yes. And and we do read books together. Like she and I, half of the stuff that's on loan in my Libby app is actually hers. And I just send it to her Kindle. And she reads a lot of stuff. And it's all like, you know, the Never After Girls and, you know, Never Girls.
If past Rubik's, who used to have to be bribed with fun erasers and everything under the sun by her mother, would know that one day she'd have children who just willingly wanted to read.
I know. I think part of that, though, is the school that they go to, I will say. Like, they go to a school that is so focused on literature. Like, their, you know, book character day, like around Halloween. They have it a little after Halloween now, but they do book character day. My kids have chosen some crazy characters that I did not expect. One year, Sugar was Pippi Longstocking, which I used to love. Pippi Longstocking when I was a kid. And that made me so happy. So far, Chickpea has been Mary Lennox. Well, two of my kids have been Mary Lennox from The Secret Garden. Chickpea has also been Lucy Pevensey from Chronicles of Narnia. She's been Sarah Crewe from A Little Princess. Like, they pick these characters that I wouldn't see anybody in other schools pick, you know, because they're not like the popular books.
Right.
But like this school that they go to, they read these classical novels and then they have full symposiums about those books and just roundtable discussions about the books and the themes and the characters and things like that. So like they are in an education system that is teaching them how to read books, but like really read. The way my oldest tells me constantly that I don't know how to read because I refuse to annotate my books.
Yes. So weird. It's almost like you told me I wasn't listening to audiobooks correctly. Again,
this is a different episode. This is a different episode. We're going to talk about that in a different episode.
But it just reiterates, I have been blessed with your 17-year-old. She is your karma. For everything you do to me, she does to you. This is beautiful karma.
That is the highlight, I think, of being a mom who reads is reading with my kids in general. Like sharing the books that I love with them. But I do also, as much as I joke about it, about how it hurts me that they don't love the things that I love about books, I do love that they are all so different in what they love about books, and that it's just, I don't know, it's such a wide range, you know? Yeah. Like there's a little bit of everything here.
I think my mom could say the same, because none of us like the same genre as her, but we all love to read, all four of us, but we all read completely different things. There's like some crossover, mainly because we do a book club with my family, but my brother doesn't participate, and my youngest sister doesn't she comes for the snacks, as she likes to say, but she reads her own genre. My brother reads his own genre. My other sister and I, we cross over probably the most of the four of us, but still have different interests. Granted, most of the stuff she's read is because I told her to, or is the book club, but she's finding her own genre because she was one who didn't like to read for the longest time. But then my mom's always liked to read, but her favorite genres none of us like. So you're kind of like in my mom's place where they love to read. They don't love the things you love to read, but at least they love to read. And it's a little bit of there's at least the crossover that I like at least one of the things that each of them likes. You know, like I mean, Sugar, I'm still searching. I'm searching so hard. I am on a constant quest to find. Yeah, you having a real struggle with someone who hates fiction.
I know, because I hate nonfiction. Like, and that's whenever we would go to the bookstore, whenever I would take her to go get books, she never wanted to go look at the stories. She always wanted to look at books with facts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she wanted fact books.
I just read a nonfiction book this month.
Ooh, which one?
Remember? I read the Britney Spears autobiography.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
I remember you
Woman
saying
in
that.
Me. And because I had said last episode, my resolution was I was going to read one nonfiction, and I did.
You did.
I actually am interested in reading a couple more nonfictions now that I'm like somewhat back into it, but it's definitely going to be very like weeded out to the exact ones that I want to read. Like, I don't ever think I'm going to be like, nonfiction. Let me see what's going on there today. It's probably going to be things that like I paid attention to in social media or things like that, or just like certain people. Like, I'd probably read Michelle Obama's book or something within like that line, even if I don't 100% know what the context would be. Like, the thing with the Britney Spears one, it was all about the stuff that was very much in the media.
Right.
So it was a very easy read because I
remember it all.
Yeah, I grew up with her and all of her major ups and downs. So I saw all of it on TV and on social media. So that was, I think for me, was the best one to start with. You could read that with her.
I'm really thinking that she would like Hunger Games. She loves those movies. I mean, she wanted to watch them back to back to back. Maybe. I've tried to get her to watch the movie.
Oh, I was going to say, if she hasn't seen those, I think I mentioned last time the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I think she would like that too. Because there's a creepy and historical element to that. Because like in the movie, there's time jumps in historical events. So there's some nonfiction elements to it, but add in the fantasy of it.
Yeah. I already know Chickpea, our next one is Percy Jackson.
I never read those.
We're going to go do Percy Jackson next because she loves like dragons and Greek mythology. She's very interested in Greek mythology right now because of what she's been learning at school the last few months. She's interested in that, and I'm like, Percy Jackson.
Now's the time. Get your claws in that little fantasy girl.
Yes, get her in there.
So outside of being a mom and reading with your kids, how do you balance reading for yourself with all the things that come with our kids?
I mean, not well. It's different. It depends on which one. Because the thing with me is I have basically one in every single age group.
You do. That's, I think, is another big difference for the two of us. Other than your last one, my kids are younger than yours. And I have a little bit more, not freedom, but a little bit more play area with my free time. But at the same time, in the mornings. But I feel like in afternoons, we both have weird schedules, especially up until at night. Although for you have some who are a little more independent of going to bed versus I have to be the one that puts mine to bed. So we both kind of have different mommy schedules. I mean,
like the older two are very independent. I have to do very little for them, but I am always checking in with them. Like, how was your day? Do you have homework? What are you doing? Like, plans for the weekend? Can so-and-so come over? Like, all these things. But then I also have, and
you're like the it house, because I feel like every time you text me, your daughters are not at their friends' houses. Their friends are at your house.
Their friends come over. Yeah, they always want to come over, which I love that. I love being that house. I'm the barefoot house. Like, I'm the house that people come over, they take off their shoes, they can come over in their pajamas and just hang out and chill. Like, I'm the cozy house. So I love being that for my kids, for their friends as well. That's fine. But it makes things busy. And so I don't have a lot of time to sit down and read because, I'm talking to them and their friends and making food and getting snacks and all kinds of stuff. And then Chickpea is more independent, but she just needs a lot. She's neurospicy. So she needs a lot of like direction constantly. Like, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? It's time
because she's only 2.5, 3 years older than my oldest.
Yeah.
And he is also getting a little bit more independent and like doing his own thing. But there's definitely those constantly checking ins, even when they don't need anything. Mine is in the middle of that game of like, time for bed. 5 minutes later, I need a sip of water. Okay, here's your sip of water. 5 minutes later, I don't know if I brushed all my teeth. Maybe only half my, like any excuse under the book will find a reason to come over.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that before.
Well, like, it's
I didn't brush all my teeth.
Yeah. Oh no. His thing is like, I don't know if I reached those back ones. Which,
That
like,
is so
love
funny.
his dental hygiene. So good, but
Yeah.
he's at that age. So they definitely each have their cute little unique things of taking away any of our, like, mommy child free time.
Now, during the day, when they're all at school, it's just me and Sunshine because hubby is sleeping because he works the overnight shift. So he gets home from work in the morning after taking the kids to school and he goes to bed. And then it's just me and Sunshine. And
However, Sunshine is 1.
She is 1.
About to be 2. Yeah.
And she has learned to open doors and crawl out of her playpen and her crib and all the things.
Fun.
She reaches tabletops and grabs things off of all the tables, and it's a lot. But so I have to watch her constantly. However, a lot of the time now, once I've gone around and kind of like, sunshine proofed the main part of the house, I can let her just run around and play. And, I'll put, nursery rhymes or stuff on the TV because she's learning to like sing along
Miss
to
Rachel.
things. And yes, Miss Rachel.
Her best friend.
Bluey, Bubble Guppies. We do all of those things now. And she has a grand old time. I am so tired of listening to those episodes. So that's the perfect time for me to sit in the living room and have my headphones on and be on my Kindle and listening to my books because it's very easy for me to watch her and do both.
See, that's where I'm taking your advice.
I can put my Kindle down and watch her, but still listen to my book.
See, that's where I'm taking your advice from our last episode that I should probably do more audiobooks because I think that's where I'm fucking up. Because for me, I'm pretty much in full mommy mode from like 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. with little mini breaks in between. And then I just binge after my kids go to bed until I go to bed. That's where I get like my huge chunk of reading done because I pretty much am always reading on my Kindle unless I am doing an audiobook, but I don't do as many audiobooks. And then that's when I can get even more done. Like, what a game changer it would be if I just had my 3-year-old running around and when I'm doing stuff and he's running around, I had an audiobook instead of my Kindle.
Yeah, because, and I do both. But then if I need to just watch her for a minute, because if she's running around and I'm just like watching her, I can look at her and be like, oh my gosh, wow, you did it. Things like that, but still be listening to my audiobook. But I've set my Kindle down for a couple minutes. And then I can just pull it up and go back to the page, like follow along again, and I'm good. And I get so much done that way. I get so much reading done. That's been the day since my kids went back to school after break. That's been my days, is doing a lot of that. And then she'll go lay down for nap and I will do some work on my computer or...
I miss nap time.
Honestly, during nap time, during nap time lately, I've been just curling up with my blanket and switching the TV to a fireplace video and reading like that. Nice. Like I just keep going, but it's then quiet. And I can listen to my headphones. I can listen to my audiobook and walk around for a few minutes and pick up all the toys and stuff. And it's easy.
Yeah, I miss nap time.
Yeah.
I didn't factor that into when I made my Goodreads goal this year. I'm insane. My youngest just stopped taking naps. In fact, we were trying to do a live on Twitch the day that he decided that naps were no longer for him. Even though he still kind of takes naps. He takes like that 20-minute nap when I leave to go get my oldest from school. He sleeps on the car ride over. And then while we're waiting in the parent pickup line. So he gets like a 20-minute nap. But he used to solidly take 2-hour naps. And that just stopped like a month and a half ago. I just lost 2 hours of reading in the middle of the day. If at the moment his hyperfixation is Hercules because he's too old for Miss Rachel. He doesn't want her anymore. He loves Hercules.
Sacrilege.
Listen, he's a big boy. He's 3. But he'll watch Hercules for a solid like 20 minutes where he'll like sit down and really focus on it. And then he's done. And then we're back to being a tornado.
I'm shocked that he's already done with naps. That's crazy.
I'm depressed about it. He loves sleeping too. It's rough out here. I don't know why I thought I was going to potentially hit 200 books this year and my youngest doesn't nap anymore. Am I crazy? How did I forget that major thing?
A little.
Because I just lost 2 hours of reading time in the middle of the day. Oh no. Oh no. So do you ever get into slumps from the overstimulation that comes with motherhood?
Yes, absolutely. Although, I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes, yes, sometimes I'm in a slump where I am so busy that like I don't even like I feel like I'm catching up on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not because I was doing anything else. It's just from just the way the days go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can schedule every minute of my day and still not have enough time to get things done. So I feel like I get into a mode where I'm like catching up constantly, and reading gets put on the back burner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of gives me a little slump, like, could read. I have this to do. I have this to do. I'm just going to do it real quick, and then I'll read. It'll take me a few minutes. Always takes an hour instead. By then, it's like I have other things to do now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do get into slumps. But other times, the overstimulation with the kids running around and stuff, sometimes when I'm feeling that overstimulation in those moments, I'm like, oh, I just really want to put on my headphones, go back to my book. Like, it makes me want my book more. Sometimes it's a slump, but the other times it's like, oh, just give me my book.
See, I have almost the
Let
same
me go
thing.
back to, I don't want to be here anymore. Let me go back to Baz Guy. Let me go back to Polaris.
Mine is kind of similar, where sometimes I'm so overstimulated where I'm like, I just need to read, be recentered, and I'll be happy mommy again. Other times, as you know, my kids are their love language is physical touch. Like, my kids are always, one of them sitting on me, one of them playing with my hair, one of them has to be holding my hand. Like, my kids are definitely like physically affectionate and always have to be within 2 feet of me at all times.
Yeah.
Which, as a person whose love language is not physical touch, I can get touched out, overstimulated that way.
Yeah.
Like, I have jokingly said many times, I don't know if my youngest got the memo that I gave birth to him and that they cut the umbilical cord, because he is very like, do not leave my sight or I will lose my mind. And sometimes I get extremely overstimulated where I'm like, I don't even want the Kindle to touch my hands. Like I had said in the last or the podcast before, I had rewatched How I Met Your Mother last year.
Mm-hmm.
It took months for me to finish rewatching it because I'm not a TV watcher anymore. I used to definitely be more so before I got really back into like this kind of reading level. But there have been times where I'm just so overstimulated. I am touched out. I just want to crawl into bed in my comfiest, like, cute little matching set of Halloween jammies that I got. And I just want to put on How I Met Your Mother. I don't want my headphones touching me. I don't want my Kindle to touch me. Like, I want to be a zombie and I want to watch a comfort TV show, and that is it.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I was shocked to see that my number for this month is already at 15, because I
was shocked to hear it because you haven't said anything to me.
But I mean, I know how much I've been reading, but I was still shocked to see it because I actually did for a couple of days, like, take a break where I still read a little bit because I'm trying really hard to keep that streak going. So I read I would read a little bit in the morning, but then the evenings I was like, you know what? I need a little bit of a break from the reading. Mm-hmm. And instead of the audiobook, I actually binge watched a couple of TV shows. Mm-hmm. And so because I took time to binge watch TV, because I needed to just watch things play out in front of me instead of listening to them.
Yeah.
I needed to watch things that were moving instead of words on the page.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So, but I was binge watching some TV, and I was shocked that even with the break that I took to binge watch TV, I still am at 15, and then we still got a week left. Mm-hmm. Holy cow!
You're doing it.
Patting myself on the back here.
Yay!
I'm doing it.
I should have known that you were higher. If I were to guess, I thought you were at 10 or 11.
Peter, sorry. That just reminded me from a Hook, where the banquet, the imagination banquet thing. Do you remember that Hook with Robin Williams?
I saw it, but when I was really little, and I don't remember it very well. I remember
the food fight scene.
No, I vividly remember watching it when I was younger. I went to the Boys and Girls Club, and there used to be, when it was really hot in the summer, they would cancel us going outside, and we'd go into the bingo hall that was attached to it because it was AC'd. And I vividly remember watching that movie. I don't remember it. I do remember Robin Williams, and that's pretty much it.
This is whenever I look at my reading stats on Fable, and it shows me how many I've got towards my goal and stuff. this is the constant scene I have in my head, because in Hook, there's a scene where he's with the Lost Boys and they sit down for dinner, but there's no food on the table. And he's like, what the hell? But they're all acting like they're eating. They're using their like imagination or whatever. Mm-hmm. But once he like pretends to do a food fight, he like pretends he's flinging it. Then like the food actually hits the kid in the face, and suddenly there's food all over the table. And the littlest of the Lost Boys, he looks at him and goes, "You're doing it, Peter." And so whenever I see my Fable stats, it's like 15 of 100. And I'm like, "You're doing it, Ruben."
Well, I'm so glad that, well, you dropped your friends off the face of the planet. Your children and your reading are doing really well.
I mean, I'll pick you guys back up. It's fine.
I'm sorry. Did you soft DNF us for the month? What is
No, I'm getting to the point. I think also like our conversations with some of the buddy reads, like that was kind of pulling me back out of my antisocial, like texting you guys about Onyx Storm.
Oh, I was gonna say, you didn't tell us that you read anything until Onyx Storm.
Well, so because
thank you, Onyx
Storm.
Listen,
I stopped telling you what I was reading this month because you kept complaining about whether or not I was going to start Onyx Storm on Tuesday with the rest of you.
That was like 2 or 3 days before Onyx Storm came out. What was your excuse for the 19 days before that conversation? I'm so glad you attempted to do this, though. What was your excuse for the 19 days before that chat?
I don't know why you're yelling.
You just didn't tell us about any of your reads. We couldn't gab.
I mean, but I was also trying to get through all of the things that I was behind on with y'all. Like I read
you had
the rest of the books in the Devil's Night series.
It was 3 because you didn't do Conclave, and then you had to do
I had to do Conclave and Nightfall and
Fire Knight.
Mm-hmm. And then
you redid the Black Witch Chronicles.
I was trying to read through the Black Witch before because I had my loan for the new one, the new book. It came in instantly. So I borrowed it immediately, and I didn't want to get to a point where it lapsed. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this one first because that is something that has a due date. It will expire, and then I will be on a wait list. So I was trying to get through those first, and then you were throwing a tantrum about whether or not I was going to start Onyx Storm on Tuesday.
Mainly
so
because
I paused the Black Witch Chronicles.
Mainly because it's a buddy read Dryad Storm, and I didn't want to read it yet. I wanted to read Onyx Storm first.
Mm-hmm. And so I, like a good friend, paused my
For the
read.
record, I, like a good friend, used my Everand credit to get Dryad Storm. You're welcome.
You can't act like you're not at the point where you're deep enough into that series where you want to see how it ends as much as I do.
I told you I have to, begrudgingly, because it's a 32-hour audiobook and I am not looking forward to it, but I'm gonna do it.
That's
kicking and dragging my feet. So, you know how you edit our podcast episodes so you naturally listen to them more than I get to, and I only listen to them once they're on our Spotify?
Mm-hmm.
I don't listen to us at the one speed.
Oh yeah, I don't either.
Okay, because I can't
I mean, I have to when I'm editing, but I don't listen to it. Yeah.
I listen to us at like a 1.3 because sometimes I think that we talk a little too slow, but obviously not like a normal podcast. But I think I've trained my brain to listen to audiobooks at the speed that I read, that even podcasts, even us, who I think we're not slow talkers, but even us, I'm like, speed it up, bitches.
Speed it up. Let's go.
I even move us forward. So I'm like, maybe I overtrained my brain to listen to fast audiobooks because I can't even listen to a podcast at regular speed now.
Yeah. I have to slow it down too if there's more stuff going on around the house. I have to slow it down. Because if there's too much going on and my brain there's too much competing for my attention, I have to slow my book down to be able to focus.
With mine, if my kids are home and I'm doing something, so the ones I've been using, because the headphones that I used to use for audiobooks are broken. They only work now when they're plugged in, which is why I now use them when we're podcasting. They only work when they're plugged in. So for audiobooks, I have to use my knockoff AirPods now. And those hurt my ears very quickly. So that also might be hindering my audiobook usage for right now. But when my kids are around, I only ever have one side in because I need to hear my children, because I notice with these, like my regular over the head headphone, I don't freaking know how to differentiate, but these headphones, they're not noise canceling. Like these were $12 off of Amazon. So these aren't like noise canceling, so I could still hear them. The thing with the knockoff AirPod ones is they're the ones that go like in your ear, and they have like the suction cuppy thing. So I can't hear as well outside. So I typically only have one in. I do have to slow it down in that case because I can directly hear everything else going on, plus my audiobook.
Yeah.
If my kids are around, I can't focus on my children and my audiobook. Like there are some times at night where after dinner, after bath time, and we're in my room and they're kind of tired, or we're just not in the mood for whatever kind of thing, and we throw in a movie. It's typically a Disney movie that I've seen 9,000 times between myself and now having children.
Yep.
I don't necessarily want to watch it anymore. So that is typically when I'll try and sneak in an audio. I'll put in the headphone that my kids can't see, so they think that I'm paying attention to the movie. And if they quiz me on it, I can answer any of your questions.
You can answer any question. You can recite every lyric.
Exactly. Yeah. So I will occasionally sneak audiobooks in before my kids are sleeping. Now it almost works for me that these ones broke and I have to use the AirPod ones, because now I can sneak in one ear and my oldest can't call me out for having headphones on.
My kids know, like I try to be in the middle of our living room, kitchen, dining room is all one kind of central area.
Yeah, so, yours is more open concept than my setup.
Yes. So when they get home, I'm in the family area, right? And I'll be in the kitchen, starting to make dinner, or I'll be sitting on the couch in the living room, somewhere along those lines. Even if I'm doing crafts, I've been doing the crafts on the dining room table. So I'm in that area, but I still have on my Bluetooth headphones, which they're cheap noise canceling. So they're not perfectly noise canceling, but they do a really good job. So I'll put those things on, and my kids just know when I have my yellow headphones on, it means I'm listening to a book, and they need to come and like touch my shoulder. But also if somebody starts screaming, I can hear it, and
I do have, my oldest knew that if I had the ones before these ones, if I had those on, this was like when he was supposed to be in bed. If he came into my room and I was laying down and I was like not facing my door, I would not hear him come in. So he would have to come tap me, or I don't hear you. So if you're talking to me, you need to like flag me down, tap me, something, because otherwise I can't hear you.
Yeah, my rule has always been put your hand on my shoulder, and then whether or not I'm talking on the phone or talking to somebody in person, or if I'm doing anything, come put your hand on my shoulder. As soon as I can stop and address you, I will. But that lets me know that you're waiting for me.
It's my turn.
They do the hand on the shoulder less now. If I'm sitting on the couch, they just come and stand in front of me staring at me.
Oh my God, and I'm like, because we keep threatening you that we're going to text one of your daughters, because Mel and I have the phone numbers to 2 of your 4 children, or 2 of your 5 children, and
2 with phones.
Yeah, the 2 with cell phones. We have their phone numbers and they have our phone numbers, and we keep threatening you that we're going to text them when you're ignoring us. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to text either one of your children that is home and just be like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you just go stand in front of your mom? And then when she says, what do you need? Have that daughter be like, it's actually not for me. Taylor needs you, or Mel needs you. I'm just going to send your children in to get you. I'm being ignored.
I sometimes do, like if I'm in the middle of texting you and something's going on, I don't even turn it off. Today, I heard things and I was in the middle of texting you. I think I was actually starting to type, and I had to set my phone down, didn't lock the screen or anything. Set it down and walked away. And I come back to these all caps.
The episode is actually Motherhood with Reading / Taylor's a bitter Betty right now because Rubix has been ignoring me. We were literally texting to prep for this podcast. And we both have iPhones and we both have read messages on. And this one, we're trying to decide what the episode is. I'm like, oh, how does this sound? Read. Your silence is making me feel like you don't want to read this. Read. The crickets are really making me stressed out. Red. Rubik's, just tell me you hate me. Red. I want to say 8 or 9 text messages go through. And at that point, I was like, fine, she's going to ignore me. I'm going to go back to reading my book. And then I finally get a text back 10 minutes later. Situation with the children. Like, listen, you can use motherhood as an excuse. Just know I'm not happy about it. Lock your phone so it doesn't keep saying red and I feel ignored.
Please, if it's red and I'm not instantly texting back, you know that I've put my phone down.
Yeah, but it's only okay if it's because of your children. If your phone is put down because of your hubby or your book binding, I'm not happy about it.
This was definitely children.
Yes, and that's why it got the pass. And I did respond back with, well, tell them it's my turn. And then I checked off because I am their internet auntie and I'm of course going to check in and make sure they're okay. But I need to be dramatic about it first.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up reading and being moms.
It's hard.
Hard, but it's like
hard.
Our biggest hobby, so we make it work.
And God bless audiobooks.
I am going to be utilizing them more.
Good.
And we will definitely be doing an episode on audiobooks soon because apparently someone has critiques on how I audiobook.
I'm also just really excited and I want to know how you feel about the audiobooks that you're specifically reading.
Yes.
Because I think it's a fun comparison to do. So
well,
keep your eye out for that episode.
The second of that series that I'm attempting this version, so I will have more feedback for that episode when I'm done with the 2.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope you enjoyed the vibes. If you want to keep up to date, make sure you're following us on Instagram.
And if you want to watch us go through the Empyrean series, we are going to be going through each of the books over on our Twitch, where you can join us in on chat because I know a lot of our listeners have also read the Empyrean series and we'll be starting with The Fourth Wing.
And if you haven't read them and you've been planning to, get on it because we will be talking spoilers.
As we said, this is what started our book battle journey. So yes, it'll be entertaining.
Till next time, you're awesome. You're doing great.
We love you. Now stop stalling and go read that book.
Bye.